Over the past month, flag bearer of the ruling New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, has embarked on an intense and comprehensive campaign tour across the nation. Since beginning his journey on April 29th at Ekropong in the eastern region of Ghana, he has traveled extensively, espousing his "It is Possible" vision in the Ahafo region, the Bono region, the Western region, the Western North region, the Bono East region, the Northeast region, the Savannah, Northern, Upper East, and the Upper West region. Good morning. This is ABC News Ghana. My name is Epifania Chokotokligwe. Now, putting forward his bold solutions for the future policies throughout his tour, the MPP flag bearer has shared several key messages focusing on economic stability and governance reforms, such as digitalization, where he's mentioned that his government will train 1 million youth in digital skills. He also spoke about formalization of the small-scale mining sector to ensure small-scale miners comply with the necessary regulations and the right equipment to ensure there's a boost in productivity in that sector. He also spoke about supporting gold exploration. His government, he said, would resource the Geological Survey Authority and technical universities to explore the 7 gold belts in the country, ensuring productive gold concessions. And additionally, he reiterated his plan to establish a minerals development bank to support small-scale miners. Now, he aims to generate $3 billion annually for the sector. He wants to improve fiscal discipline by assuring that his administration would ensure the Fiscal Responsibility Council operates independently with oversight of the Ministry of Finance. Now, he also promised to reduce government expenditure by 3% of the gross domestic product, equating to approximately 30 billion Ghana cedi annually. Furthermore, he committed to appointing no more than 50 ministers under his administration. And the constitutional reforms, he actually pledged to review Article 87 of the 1992 Constitution and the National Development Planning Commission Act, which is Act 479, to align with the nation's development aspirations. Well, last week he toured the 5 regions of the northern part of the country. Let's take a look at the key highlights from those visits.
So hand me the steer of the vehicle. Let me drive the vehicle. Give me the steer and let me take the vehicle.
Well, you just saw a recap of how his tour of the 5 regions up north has been. Something very great. Now we're moving straight to where he is today, as he's currently in Ho in the Volta region, where he's about to address the clergy at the St. Francis of Assisi Catholic Church in Ho. Our colleague Lisa is currently on grounds. Hello Lisa, good morning. What is St. Francis of Assisi Catholic Church bringing us today? How is the atmosphere over there?
Hello, Epiphania. Right, so I'm here in the St. Francis Catholic Church of Assisi here in the Volta region of Ghana, Ho to be precise. The atmosphere over here is very welcoming, and also the clergies are well seated, patiently waiting for the Vice President and the flag bearer of the MPP, Dr. Baumia, to come. We have over here one of the clergies with me. His name is, hello Mr. Sorry, what's your name?
My name's Preacher Joshua Kwesikole.
Right, Preacher Joshua, what are your expectations for today? What are you expecting the Vice President to pinpoint on?
Okay, I'm a messenger of hope. So basically what I'll be expecting from the Vice President is a message of hope to the people, because there's so much brokenheartedness in the face of the world, so the earth, and then people need hope. People need encouragement. People want to see things that will revive them, to put them into productive services. You get it? So what I'm expecting the president is, a message of hope for today, basically.
Okay, so in terms of our economy, what are your expectations? What are you expecting the Vice President to pinpoint on?
Okay, so this is not something to list, but we all know what is happening now. So I will expect a change. That is all, and I believe that is all we are expecting. Like the list, we can't name them one after the other, but we are all witnesses to what is happening in the nation. So we all expect change, and that will bring about hope, as I said again.
We are expecting change. These are the words from Preacher Joshua, one of the clergies here in the St. Francis Catholic Church. I have with me here another one of the clergies as well. Hello, sir. What is your name, please?
Bishop Eugene Freyhat.
Sorry?
Bishop Eugene Freyhat.
Okay, Bishop Eugene is here with me. What are your expectations? What are you expecting the Vice President to touch on?
Okay, I thank God for today. And then our expectation as a people of Pando and the clergies is the president should see to our educational system in the Pando municipality. And also our prayer is he should come to power, and when he comes to power, all we need from him in the remote areas, at least we are struggling and doing much for the country, they should try and cancel this church taxation, because it's disturbing we that are in the remote areas. Yeah, and then the stability of peace in our country, that is what we are praying for.
Okay, so church taxation, it is one of his topmost problem, and he's expecting the Vice President and the flag bearer of the MPP to touch on. Moving on, sir. You said that here in the educational system, what is that one thing that you want him to touch on?
Yeah, infrastructures. Yeah, especially in my town, my municipality, Pando. Yeah, we need the Vice President, when God willing becomes the president, he should tackle our infrastructures in the municipality of Pando. Yes, because as at now, some schools are under trees. Yeah.
So these are the words from Bishop Eugene Freehart here in St. Francis Catholic Church. The clergies are patiently waiting for the Vice President and the flag bearer of the MPP. Over to you, Epiphania. Reporting live, Lisa.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Well, that was Lisa, a colleague who's currently in Hoa, the St. Francis of Assisi Catholic Church. You're still watching APC News Ghana. We'll bring you more things and coverage, especially on the official campaign tour of the flag bearer and vice president of the ruling New Patriotic Party. But yesterday was Wednesday, and he actually met with the Trades Union Congress, and we had the secretary, the general secretary, Dr. Anthony Yao, who actually praised Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, who happens to be the leader of the New Patriotic Party, for his positive and noteworthy campaign message. Now, it is possible. The Vice President's upbeat campaign approach has received support by the TUC Secretary General at the meeting with Dr. Baumia, which took place on Wednesday. He said that many Ghanaians who are eager for the positive change and growth in the country would relate to the message. Dr. Baumia previously stated that institutions, systems, and ideas are necessary for a nation to be transformed. Having personally listened to him throughout his recent national campaign tour, I can attest to his insistence that it is feasible. During the meeting which took place in Accra, the flag bearer assured the Trades Union Congress that he will help strengthen the National Labour Commission under his presidency by ensuring that it has offices established across the country. He added that if by the end of this year the new Labour Act is not reviewed, he will make sure that it is reviewed and passed under his administration to protect workers. Now, the Labour Act 2003, which is Act 651, regulates employment and labour issues in Ghana. The Act consolidates all laws relating to labour, employers, trade unions, and industrial relations. The National Labour Commission administers the laws related to labor and employment. Dr. Baumia reiterated his plans to implement a flat tax rate in 2025 after granting tax amnesty to every individual in the country.
Ideas, systems, and institutions are ingredients for transforming a country. Let me repeat that one. He said ideas, systems, and institutions are the ingredients that we need to transform Ghana. I personally listened to him during his recent campaign tour across the country, and he insists that it is possible. And I see that everywhere. It is possible. I think that positive message is very, very important for this country. It is possible.
Okay, so that was the General Secretary of the Trade Union Congress, Dr. Anthony Yaba. Well, we're moving straight on. When the Vice President arrives in Ho and he's about to address the clergy, we'll definitely take you live there. But let's look at the journey so far. personal basis. You know, it goes beyond rallies and podiums this time. This time is bringing the messages straight to the people. And if you notice that every region that he steps in, the first group of people he meets with happens to be the clergy. So he's already greeting them. He came with his team and he's greeting the clergy before he actually go and take his seat. After which I'm sure there are going to be some introductions before he would actually be allowed to take the stage and share what he has with the clergy. You're still watching ABC News Ghana. Let's come back and watch some key messages that the Vice President has been sharing. Okay, so ever since he began his campaign tour on 29th of April in Ekropon, we've actually been looking at some of the key messages that the flag bearer for the New Patriotic Party has been sending to the regions as he goes to meet with these key interest parties and groups. Now, some of the key campaign messages he's been pushing across, I mean, one of them had to do with the nursing allowances, and I quote, "I've spoken to the Ministry of Finance. The Ministry of Finance is to transfer 177 million Ghana cedi to the Ministry of Health on Thursday, May 16, 2024, to cater for the unpaid allowances owed to nursing trainees, which means they will receive their allowances by next week." Now, actually, it did happen because there was a day where he mentioned that the money had been transferred from the Ministry of Finance to the Ministry of Health and that the nursing trainees were to receive. So I believe that'll be last week. So yes, we're yet to hear from most of the people about those whose allowances have actually reached their accounts. Now, he also spoke on mobile money interoperability, where he said we're the only African country that I know of that has accomplished mobile money interoperability. He also looked at some of the completed projects that he has actually been able to do, and I quote, "I'm happy to say for the Savannah region in the last 7 years we have completed 378 projects with 137 projects ongoing." He also mentioned TVET, which he said that the number of TVET students has actually increased from 60,000 to 159,000 in the last 7 years. Now, he also spoke the same thing on TVET. He said we've invested 6 billion Ghana cedis in TVET education over the last 7 years. Now, we've started distributing laptops to senior high school students. And on that same note, I want to make mention that if you're with us last week, you realize that was the northern parts of the country, I think in the northeast region, he actually donated laptops to some students in the northeast region when he was actually touring that part of the country. Now, on free SHS, he mentioned that through the free SHS scheme, we have increased the number of SHS students from 800,000 to 1.4 million. Now, he also spoke, one key thing that he actually has been pushing had to do with persons with disabilities, the fact that he will give them free tertiary education with disabilities. Basically, that's like a scholarship. He said that's what he'll do if he's voted into power. Now, on road construction, he made mention that the NPP, and I quote, "The NPP has constructed several roads in the Savannah region, Daboya to Mankarigo, Bimbila to Salaga, or Salaga to Pandai, or Gonjai." Now, 35 kilometers of asphalt work on the Damboya Bridge, which will be completed before the year ends. Now, this was something he mentioned when he was addressing the Savannah Regional House of Chiefs. He also said, my vision for Ghana is a vision that makes sure that we're going digital. And as you know, in some preachings, they call him the doctor of digitalization. So he also said on agriculture that I want to make Savannah region the bread basket of Ghana and then West Africa through large-scale agriculture, digitalization, commercialization, and mechanization. Now, on education, he made mention that he will bring a university to the Savannah region, and he will begin by setting up a campus for one of the already existing universities in the country in the Savannah region, which later will transform to an independent university. Now, on health infrastructure, he said he wants to build a regional hospital in Damongo for the Savannah region, so they don't have to keep going all the way to Tamale Teaching Hospital for treatment. Also on medical, the same medicine part, he mentioned that the drones are delivering medicines to 2,800 hospitals in the country. And let's not forget, he made mention that the drones are manned solely by Ghanaians, and we actually had one of the key technicians who actually happens to be from the northern part of the country who was taking to California. Yes, I believe it's California, for when they actually needed a personnel to come and teach them how to man drones. So he believes that with the drone delivery system, we're able to do more good. And he's also mentioned that there are about 100 flights a day from each of these delivery systems, which have been set up in most of these key regions, because these places sometimes have bad roads and it makes it difficult for you to be able to access medical facilities. But with the drone delivery system, they're making healthcare accessible, easy, and prompt. It comes directly on time, making it that they're able to save lives. Well, these are some of the key messages that he's actually shared. Began his tour on 29th of April. Don't forget, he's been to most of the key regions, and today he's actually in the Volta region. He's in Ho, to be precise. We'll bring you coverage. Stay with us.
implementing since I became vice president. They are policies that are aimed at transforming this country. We had so many problems that we have never solved since independence. But we began to solve those problems. We did not have unique identity in Ghana. So we insisted that the Ghana card must be issued to everyone. And we have issued 17.6 million Ghana cards right now. And that is providing unique identity to everyone. And the Ghana card is helping us in so many areas. Many people do not understand. And this is why I said the Ghana card was so important. We've had a problem in our public sector payroll, where you have a lot of ghost workers. And when you have ghost workers, it means people are stealing money. They are not working, but they are collecting pay. So I said that every worker has to be accounted for with their Ghana card, so that you will have fingerprints to relate to every worker on payroll. When we did that, all the ghosts who had no fingerprints all ran away. And the Ghana card numbers are issued to even newborn babies. So today, as exists in different countries overseas, if you give birth to a child in Ghana today, and you take that child for weigh-in, that child is going to be given a Ghana card ID and a birth certificate ID at the same time. Every property in Ghana has a digital address. Before, we didn't have addresses. You had to direct people based on the mango tree or the blue house or the cocoa cellar. But today, we go by digital addresses. And every location has a digital address. And this is now allowing so much business to take place over the internet and e-commerce. Today in Ghana, we said that many people have mobile money accounts. And so we wanted to introduce mobile money interoperability, a unique type of interoperability, so that you can send money from one telco to another, which we couldn't do before. And you can also send money from the bank account to the Momo account, which we couldn't do before. And we have done this interoperability in Ghana. And Ghana is the only country in Africa that I know of where you have done this mobile money interoperability between bank accounts and mobile accounts.
You're watching ABC News Ghana. Well, the Vice President will very soon address the clergy as he's currently at the St. Francis of Assisi Catholic Church in Ho. Let's go straight to the auditorium for the feed.
And we recognize the fact that men and women are called by God, and you are in charge of the flock of the Lord. And His Excellency has directed us that anywhere we go, we should seek that communion and fellowship with men and women of God, to ask for their prayers, to ask for their guidance before we start anything we do. And respectfully, let me add, it's something he is convicted of. It's something that we are all convicted of. You see, we are politicians, and at times, there's this saying at home, in school, at areas, when people are convinced, they say, I'm doing politics, which means I'm not speaking the truth all that much. So we say, watch the politicians when they are speaking. But we stand before you in the presence of our Lord, that this is a political gimmick, so that people will be convinced that these people, they are religious or they fear God, so vote for them. No. In the presence of God, in the representatives of God, the God who sees the innermost hearts of men and women, we cannot mock God. We believe in it. And it's always with some challenge and almost fear when you stand before men and women of God who are being called by God, trained, gone to theological school, and you are giving remarks before them because they know it, they taught us. But it's also important that we remind ourselves when we go to the ballot and people vote to select or elect their leaders, so far as we are concerned, so far as Dr. Bamuya is concerned, it's a contract you sign with the people. What we say and what we do is a testament. And that's why we come here seeking your prayers and guidance. That even though he has a good heart and the will to serve Ghana, he needs your prayers continuously. Continuously. He's convicted of it. Are we here to respectfully ask that men and women of God should go and campaign for us and talk to their flock to vote for MVP the elephant? No. No. But we are here to present our message to you and ask for your support in prayers as we go up and down, and even as we formulate our manifestos and our policies, we get the guidance of the Lord. And he has directed us. This meeting is something that we keep on praying. If by the will of God he grants Dr. Bamuya the favor and he becomes the president, it's something that will continue very regularly. This interaction between him and the clergy. We are not just doing it because he now wants us to vote for him. No. Because I've said it, I've learned it from our Bible expositors, that this whole thing about democracy, representative government, meeting people and grouping them so that people represent them so that they can hear their case and their submissions and solve their problems. The foundation is in scripture. In Exodus 18, when Jethro, the father-in-law of Moses, visited him and he saw how Moses was meeting all the people, sitting from morning to evening, Jethro said, "No, my son-in-law, what you are doing is not good. You will break down." He says, 24, "Find able men, capable men, men who fear God, men who hate covetousness, and put them in charge of the people, 50s, 100s. And when there's something above them, then they will come to you." Men and women of God, if this is not representative governance, what is it? When we have local assemblies, when we have district assemblies, we have regional days, we have parliaments, 276 representing people, that is representative governance. And we are convicted that it has a foundation in scripture. And when it comes to election, as we do, God willing, on December 7th, when Judas Iscariot left, God could have written, just as he wrote on the wall for the Nebuchadnezzar, replace him with this person, and it will have happened. But no, in Acts 1:21, what are we told? That they met to cast lots, to ballot, to vote, just to elect one person to join the 11 to become 12. So between Matthias and Barsabbas, also called Justus, there was an election. Even though, to the best of my knowledge, the Bible didn't give the results of the election, it was an election. And for me, the important thing is that before they voted, they prayed. Acts 1:24. "O God, who knows the innermost hearts of men, we present these two people before you. Help us to choose one who is able, who will fear you, God, and do your wish." They prayed before that. So in scripture, representation of governance, in scripture, elections. But the most important thing is that they prayed. And that's what prayer we are also asking. That it is you as the representatives of God Almighty on earth. Help us to pray that the God who knows the innermost hearts of men will select the right person who fears God. But we are convinced and convicted and respectfully suggest to you that in praying, you pray for Dr. Bawumia, because you believe that he fits into that description, he fits into the commandments, that he is somebody who fears God and do the will of God for his people. And that's why we come here and beseech you. And we do so knowing very well, you know it better. In the society, in our secular society, so many things happen. Negative propaganda, negative messages. Even when the Lord, the apostles were preaching, others too were also confusing the people. And it happens. Others believe that the gospel was for only Jews. And you could see the problem Paul had even with the apostles while he was moving into the Gentiles. All sorts of preaching goes on. But we are here because we believe that you can discern and spiritually do so and advise the flock so that they don't get confused and they are not influenced by negative propaganda. Because we are looking for people who God can use, and we are convicted that the God we serve, any human being, any person who fears God and who makes himself available, our God will use that person to save his people. And God can use even living beings or non-living beings. At a point he said that if you do not praise me, stones that are not living things will rise up and praise me. That is the God we serve. And you taught us in Numbers 22 that when Balaam was sitting on the axe, and the angel of the Lord appeared, the man, the human being, could not see the angel of the Lord. It is the ass, the donkey, who saw the angel of the Lord. To the extent that God spoke through the animal, he spoke through the donkey to the human being. This is the God we serve. At any point in time, he can use anybody, any instrument to his glory. And it's important that we appreciate that, so that when there's negative propaganda, we bring all these things together and we know the work we do and the work you do as though revered men and women of God, that as you do the spiritual aspect, I'm sure some of your flock come to you and at times you pay school fees for them. I know at times people are in hospital, they come to you, you go and pay their hospital bills. When we do it, they say we are doing it for both. Maybe. But you, in addition to your spiritual well-being of your people, you do some of these things. You care when there's no water for the people. You care when the roads to your communities are bad. And in actual fact, this is about the 11th region, if not the 12th region we have been to. And in all the people we have met, clergy have presented views, ideas, some on solar energy, some on environment, and many other things. And so we are going to ask that this communion continues and will get your ideas in addition to your prayers. But we are concerned because people will come to you. At times your flock will listen to all the messages and they get confused. But please, our messages, just like Jonathan in 1 Samuel 14 says, when there was doubt as to the outcome of the war, he told his armor bearer that the God we serve, nothing restraineth him to save with few or money. We cannot restrain God. We cannot belittle our God. He can use anybody who defies it. And he has a way of using people all over. In 1 Kings 18, we all know the rule of Ahab and Jezebel was an evil one. So when Elijah was fighting him, Elijah thought he was the only one. But with an encounter with Obadiah, the Bible describes Obadiah even within the evil kingdom of Ahab and Jezebel, that Obadiah was a man who feared God. And Obadiah told Elijah that I have kept 100 men who fear God in caves, and they have not bowed before Baal. That is the God we serve. At any point in time, in unbelievable situations, he can select one person and use him. We are convinced that you, being the people who God speaks to in this evil world, discernment becomes a problem. We beseech you, men and women of God, that the times we are in, we need people who make themselves available for God to use. And so when we say we are convicted that God knows the innermost hearts of men, we cannot mock God, as said in Galatians. We cannot. We believe in it. All of us, the large party of the Patriotic Party, we met. Believers prayed. At the end of the day, convincingly, we are convinced and convicted that God gave us Dr. Bawumia to lead our party. So we present him to you as somebody who has worked for this nation for the past 8 years, who have learned from it. But the God who uses different kings at different times and treats each individual as his own chosen person, we believe that he has a heart that is willing to listen and learn. Submissive, humble, but a very firm person. Ideas given to him by the Lord, and we are very convicted that given the chance, he will be a major instrument that God can use to transform this country. It is in that spirit that we are here this morning, and with the greatest of respect to you, eminent clergy, I want to invite Dr. Bawumia to address us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think if my campaign chairman was not a politician, he would have been a pastor by now. Eminent clergy, men and women of God, my distinguished national chairman, ministers of state, members of parliament, CEOs, our parliamentary candidate, and our MMDCs, the entourage who have kindly followed me here, I would like to say good morning to all of you. They will say in Ewe, I think if I can repeat it, or if I can remember it, Medekuku Minyiba Nami. Menyiba Nami. I'm in real reverence being in your presence today. My name is Mahamudu Bawumia, and I am here in my capacity as the flag bearer and leader of the New Patriotic Party, the presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party. In the process of getting ready for this 2024 election, I am going around the country to talk to all the stakeholders in this country. I have to prepare a manifesto, but God doesn't give one person all the wisdom. All the wisdom is scattered all over. And so if you are preparing a manifesto to help the country, you better speak to the people and hear from them what the real issues that concern them are. Because you may think you know, but you don't know. And so this is why I am going around the country. And I am also going around with the firm belief that unless the Lord builds the house, they will labor in vain, those that build it. Because if you don't put God first, nothing will come through for you. And so you will see that every time I go to any region, my first meeting, as we are meeting today, is with the men and women of God, so that I can come in and benefit from your anointing and listen to you, so that we can go forward in this whole campaign that I am embarked on. If you look at it, I always say that it doesn't almost make sense that I'm standing before you today. Initially, I was never thinking I would go into politics. It was never my desire. Growing up, I wanted to be an economist. I was at the Bank of Ghana. But God made it within 24 hours. In August 2008, I had that decision to make, to enter politics. 24 hours. My life was changed. And then I entered politics, and last year I decided to run for the presidential candidature of my party, the New Patriotic Party. All of you know that in our party there was almost a pattern that had been established, that many people thought that we were only going to select Akan leaders to lead us. Isn't that the case? That was the pattern that many people thought had been established, that our leadership would always be Akan. So when you had this man from Wale Wale get up and say, I also am going to lead the party, there were many people who said it will not happen. They didn't see how the MPP would elect somebody from the north to come and lead the party. And not only with somebody from the north, I also am a Muslim. So you essentially had something that had also never happened in Ghana, that you are saying that this person is from the north, he's also a Muslim. How can you be elected to lead this MPP? I said, if it is the will of God, it can happen. It is possible. It is possible. We went for an election in the party, and lo and behold, I was the only person from the north against 9 other people. Only person. But God said it is possible. Make it possible. And I was elected with the highest votes ever for a first-time candidate in the MPP. So I believe that it was not by my might or by my power, but by the grace of God that I was elected as the candidate for the New Patriotic Party. I believe that, as we are told in the Bible, God can use anybody. A good friend of mine who is one of my best friends from primary school, who is a priest right now in Techiman, he used to tease me, and he would say, can anything good come out of Wale Wale? Can anything good come out of Wale Wale? And I said, yes, Kote, something good can come out of Wale Wale if it is the will of God. And I believe that, as I said, God can use anybody to change a society. We see the story of Cyrus in the Bible. Cyrus did not even believe in God. He did not know God. But still, God used Cyrus to help the people of Israel. And so that is why I believe that God can use me also to help change Ghana. We are a blessed country. Let us appreciate the country that we are. Ghana is a very blessed country. We are the most peaceful country in the whole of West Africa. The whole of West Africa. And one of the most peaceful countries in the whole of Africa. This is our DNA as Ghanaians. We are now known for peace. But the peace that we have in Ghana is underpinned by our religious tolerance. There is so much religious tolerance in Ghana compared to many of the countries on the continent, and especially even our neighboring countries. It's a remarkable amount of religious tolerance. We are the only country in this continent that I know of where a chief imam celebrates his 100th birthday by going to the Catholic Church and praying there. That is very unusual. That is very unusual. Recently, I visited the Vatican and had audience with His Holiness the Pope Francis. And when we had our conversation, one of the things he mentioned, and he's so knowledgeable, so knowledgeable, he says, the thing I like about Ghana is your religious tolerance. So you people should maintain that religious tolerance. And I said to him, please pray for us so that that religious tolerance continues to be maintained. By way of background, I come from a large family. My father married my mother. At the time, actually, my father was going to marry my mother. My mother was a Christian. She was attending Wesley Girls. She was one of these first girls from the northern region who were sent to Wesley Girls. She was a Christian. She had to convert to Islam to marry my father. My father had 17 surviving children, 17 of us. He had a football team and reserves. What is interesting about our family is that of the 17 of us, 9 of us are Christian, 8 of us are Muslim. 17, 9 Christian, same family. So growing up, we had both the Bible and the Quran in the house. And my relationship with the church has been from childhood. It is not now. When I was a child, I was a member of the Methodist Boys Brigade. I was a brigadier. I grew up in the Methodist Boys Brigade. Today, I am a vice president, but I am a patron of the Methodist Boys Brigade of Ghana. I'm a patron. Today, I work closely with a Catholic priest called Father Campbell, who we work with lepers. I am a patron of Lepers Aid Committee of Ghana, and we work together. And he has also recently made me a patron of the Mother Teresa's Soup Kitchen to look after street children in Ghana. I'm saying all of this to let you know where my heart is. My heart is about helping people, helping the poor, helping the vulnerable. That is where my heart is. To lead, I believe you must care. You must care about people. Last year, I went to Akropong. We were celebrating the 100 years anniversary of the Akropong presbytery. When we went there, I was so touched. I was with my campaign chairman, Dambotwe. I was so touched with the history of the Presby Church in the region and in Ghana, and celebrating 100 years anniversary. And I said, I'm going to do something to commemorate the contribution of the church. And I offered to build a school in Kwabuantang in the eastern region in honor of the church's 100 years. And I have built the school, and we have commissioned the school in honor of the church. So as I say, my whole worldview and my relationship with the church has been from childhood. It is not because I entered politics that I'm getting closer to the church. I've been very close to the church way before. And I will still be close to the church after I leave politics, because that is who I am. I believe as a nation we should all come together and get things done for our country, for our people. After all, we are all God's children, and we should help one another to go. So if you look at what I have tried to do since I became the Vice President of the Republic, my view has been very clear that we have to do things that lift up the people, that lift up the poor, that lift up the vulnerable. That is where my focus has been in my term so far, 7 years, now in my 8th year as Vice President. As a government, I can talk about all the things that we have done since we came into office. But I'm going to just focus on some of the things, since I know that we have time constraints, and I also want to focus on the future, what it is that I want to do if God gives me the opportunity to lead this country. When you look at my campaign slogan, I say it is possible, because with God everything is possible. It is. And I believe that as a nation we should not shy away from trying to be the best. We should not be intimidated from trying to be the best. What the white man has achieved, we can also achieve, and achieve better. It is possible. It is possible. We should not be intimidated. So when I came into office, I decided to focus on some of the problems that we have had as a country for a very long time that we did not solve. We didn't have unique identity. There was no unique identity for Ghana. But the world is going into a digital age, the fourth industrial revolution. That fourth industrial revolution, Africa must be a full part of it. Ghana must be a full part of it. We cannot miss it. We miss the first, we miss the second, we miss the third. The fourth is upon us. The foundational document for full participation in the fourth industrial revolution, which is the digital age, is digital identity. That is what it is. Digital identity is the fundamental pillar for a digital world. If you don't have that, you are lost. Today, the digital identity, Europe, the EU, has asked all its countries to issue a digital identity by 2030. They see the importance. By 2030, they are asking all the EU member states to issue their citizens with a digital identity. The United States is also now talking about issuing a digital identity for all the citizens of the United States. So when we came into office, we said, let us make sure our citizens have a digital identity. And this is why we focus on the Ghana card and issue the Ghana card. Now over 85% of adults have the Ghana card. And today we are now moving to babies. Today we have integrated the database of the Ghana Health Service, the Births and Deaths Registry, and the NIA. So today, if they give birth to any child in any hospital in Ghana and they take the child for weigh-in, that child is going to be given two identities. One, the Ghana card number, and two, the birth certificate number at the same time. Because we have used digitalization to integrate all these databases. So right from birth, right from childhood, everybody in Ghana is now going to get a Ghana ID card and a birth certificate ID. This is something that was not possible before, but now we have made it possible. We have also, when I looked at Ghana, I realized that finding addresses was a problem. You had to look for the Wache seller or the Kinke seller, turn right, the Blue House, turn left. Those were landmark, directions. But now Ghana has implemented a digital address system. So now you cannot get lost. Everywhere you want to go, you can find it. Businesses can be found, villages, everywhere you can find an address system. And so we are the second country in the whole world. Ghana is the second country to implement a digital address system. The whole world. Then I address the issue of lack of financial inclusion. Most of our population did not have access to financial services. And even when you had Momo, you could only transfer money between one network. You couldn't transfer between MTN and Vodafone or MTN and Tigo. And you couldn't transfer money between your Momo account and your bank account. So I came up with the idea that we should do mobile money interoperability. So you will have interoperability amongst all these. It was not easy, but we have done mobile money interoperability. And therefore now you can remit money between your different telcos, and you can move money between a bank account and a mobile account. And Ghana is the first country in the whole of Africa to achieve mobile money interoperability. First country in the whole of Africa. And by achieving mobile money interoperability, you see the rankings now. Ghana has now become #1 in Africa in terms of access to financial inclusion. We are the #1 in the whole of Africa. Because today, if you have a Momo account, it works like a bank account. In fact, most people don't even bother with their bank accounts anymore because they can move money between Momo. Someone sends you money from abroad, it now comes to your Momo account. You don't need to go to Western Union to queue anymore. You can use your Momo to pay any bill. So we have done exactly that. Now, the Ghana card, we have made sure. One of the problems that we had was ghost workers in our public sector. There was a lot of corruption. Ghost workers, people who were being paid for not even going to work. Their names were on the payroll. So what did I say? I said, let us link every public sector worker with their Ghana card number, because the Ghana card numbers have unique biometric fingerprints on them. So every person can be uniquely identified. Because ghosts don't have fingerprints. Ghosts don't have fingerprints. Immediately we decided to link them, the ghosts ran away. The ghosts ran away. In the National Service Secretariat, we found 44,000 ghost workers. 44,000, we eliminated 44,000, saving 450 million Ghana cedis a year. In the SNIT pension database, we found 29,000 ghost pensioners. We removed them, saving about 350 million Ghana cedis. Just two institutions, over 750 million Ghana cedis savings. Then we've cleaned the Controller and Accountant General database. So now we can confidently say, because of the use of the Ghana card, we don't have ghost workers on government payroll anymore. That problem has been solved. That problem has been solved. We have digitalized passports, the ports, we have digitalized DVLA, and therefore we have reduced the corruption in many of these areas. One of the difficult situations I faced in my life was watching my father die in Tamale Teaching Hospital because there was no blood. He had an operation, we needed blood. In the night, the blood bank was locked. We tried so hard to find the man who was in charge of the key to come and open and give us blood. We couldn't find him. Before the morning, my father had passed away. And that stuck in my mind. So when I heard about a company called Zipline, which was using drones to supply blood, to supply medicines, vaccines, and all of that, immediately I said, this is the sort of technology we need in Ghana. So I took a team and we went to San Francisco, and I had a meeting with this company, and I said, I want you to come to Ghana and set up in Ghana so that you can help us save lives, especially in the remote rural areas. If you go to places like Nyangbosre in Afajato South, up on the mountain, they are delivering medicines every now and again in places like that. We have 6 drone centers in Ghana, 6, and each of them is flying an average of 100 flights a day to 2,800 health facilities. 2,800. And in fact, when we had COVID, they were a lifesaver. They are saving lives every day, and they are 100% manned by Ghanaians. The drone delivery program is 100% manned by Ghanaians, young men and women. And distinguished and eminent men of women of God, the good thing about Ghana's drone delivery program is that the whole world, Ghana is now the leading medical drone delivery service in the whole world. We are leading the whole world in medical drone delivery. 2 months ago, a company came to recruit a Ghanaian because of the experience to San Francisco, back to where we brought the technology from, to go and lead a team in the company on drone flight operations from Ghana. So you see that this is where I keep saying it is possible, that we shouldn't be intimidated, we should go for it. We are networking all our hospitals. We are networking all our hospitals. We have completed all the teaching hospitals. We have completed all the regional hospitals. We've completed all the district hospitals. And we are going to continue and complete every clinic, all the CHIPS compounds by the end of next year. The networking means that the hospitals can talk to each other. It's under a project called e-health. So essentially all the patient data in all the hospitals we have digitalized, all the patient data is now digital. You don't need a folder. You know, before you can go and they will be looking for your folder, and if you are not even lucky, they won't find your folder. Today we have digitalized all the patient records in over 302 hospitals, and we will complete all hospitals in Ghana by the grace of God next year. But it means that if you are transferred or referred from a district hospital, for example, to Kolebu or to another hospital, or you are coming to Ho from a district hospital, they don't need your folder. All you need to come with Ho or to Kolebu is your ID number. Once they enter your ID number in the system, all your medical records will be available for the doctor to then treat you. And that is something that, you know, we will, there's no country that I know of on the continent that is going to achieve that level. We would be the first. Again, I was in Ho in 2019 and I met with the Pharmaceutical Council here, and I told them, let's digitalize the pharmacy system in Ghana, because when they give you a prescription, you don't even know which pharmacy has the medicine. You go to many pharmacies, you will not find. When you are lucky and you find something, you just buy it because you are desperate. You buy whatever is available, whatever price. So I said, let us integrate all the pharmacies on one digital platform so that anybody with a prescription can go there, find out which pharmacy near them has the medicine and what the different prices are. Thankfully, we have completed that work. We have now integrated over 2,500 pharmacies in Ghana on the e-pharmacy platform. So today, if a doctor gives you a prescription, you can just go straight to and upload it on the e-pharmacy platform. It will tell you which pharmacy near you has the medicine, what the prices are. And because we've linked it to the Food and Drugs Administration database, you are 100% sure that if it's on the system, it's a genuine drug. It's not a fake drug. So with that, we are able and we will be the first on the continent to have a wholesale national e-pharmacy platform. And we have been able to do it. So it is possible for us to do things that we think are out of our reach. And I also push very hard for us to do one constituency, one ambulance, agenda 111, and other policies that we have been doing. So this is just to give you a sense of some of the problems I have been trying to help government solve since I've been in office. But of course, I'm now running for president, and I want to touch a little bit on my vision as to what I want to do if by the grace of God I become president of this country. I want us to focus and be a united country. I believe that we should continue and be even more united as a country. There are a few things that are very important for me. First is agriculture. I believe that agriculture holds the key to our development. I believe we should focus on agriculture, expand agriculture, move into commercial agriculture with irrigation, with technology, with mechanization. That will increase a lot of food production and bring down the cost of food. I think agriculture generally has been very small scale, but countries that have done very well with agriculture have done it at a much larger scale, and I want Ghana to move into that much larger scale agricultural production. We have done reasonably well. Rice imports have come down by 45%. That is fine. We want to be able to, by 2028, hopefully be able to say, no, we've reduced rice imports to zero and we are now exporting rice. That is where we should be going. The key crops, we should have a target to eliminate the imports of them because we can grow them. Burkina grows tomatoes and we are importing from Burkina, which has a more hostile climate than us. And we can do all of those things. So agric, I believe, is a low-hanging fruit, and we should go for that. The second thing I want us to do to reduce the cost of living is to look at our electricity generation, the power generation. Ghana right now relies a lot on oil and gas to generate power. Oil and gas. And if you look at the costs, they are quite high. And so we have, every time oil prices go up in the Middle East, fuel prices go up, electricity prices go up, transport prices go up, and all of that. I want us to move away from oil and gas to solar power. Solar power is the key for us in the generation of electricity. Solar and renewables, solar and earth wind power. That is where we should go. My aim and the goal that I have stated, in the next 4 years, Ghana should add 2,000 megawatts of solar power generation in the grid. 2,000 megawatts. That is more than half our consumption of electricity. So you combine that with a Kosombo, and you will have really reduced the cost of power in this country by at least 50%. And that will give our businesses a competitive edge. Right now, you are competing against countries whose businesses are producing at 5 cents, 7 cents per kilowatt hour, and you are producing at 14 cents. How do you compete? But if we use what God has given us, which is the sun, for free, we don't have to pay to import the sun into Ghana. There's no foreign exchange that is required. Let's just get the sun, let's use it, let's generate our electricity, and let us save money. So it's a major thing that I want us to do. In addition to that, if you look at transport fares, I'm advocating that public transport should move to electric vehicles. That public transport should move to electric vehicles so that we can reduce the cost of public transportation. It's a very, very important thing for us to do. Reduce the cost of public transportation, because if you look at the cost of public transport, which I have been looking at for a very long time, it is two factors: fuel prices and spare parts. If you go to electric vehicles, fuel prices are not there. You are using batteries of the electric. Spare parts are extremely minimal, so the cost will dramatically decline. So we are bringing in this year, by the grace of God, we are working to bring in about 200 buses this year, electric vehicles, to do a proof of concept so that everybody will see how the electric buses can bring down the cost, and then we will take it from there. But if you don't bring down the cost of transport, so many people of our population rely on public transport. Most of our population, maybe 80-90%, rely on public transport. So bringing down the public transport costs will bring down cost of living. The other factor that I want us to change dramatically in Ghana is our tax system. Our tax system is a major problem for us. It's a system we inherited at independence, and it's a system which is extremely cumbersome and subject to a lot of abuse. So a lot of the time, businesses receive tax bills from GRA and they don't understand it. They don't understand how those tax bills were generated. Sometimes, if they are not lucky, their shops will be closed because they haven't paid the tax over there. And so I have been struggling with this matter for the last 2 years, studying how Ghana can move into a tax system that is simple, that is easily understood, that is easily enforceable. I looked at all countries and I found out that in the whole world, there's one country that has kept coming number one in the last 10 years in the area of tax competitiveness, and that is Estonia. Estonia is number one in the world for 10 years in a row in the area of tax competitiveness. So I took a team, GRA and others, and we went to Estonia. we went to study their system. They have a very simple system. It's a flat tax system. It's like the way we pay our tithe in church. If it's 10%, it's 10%. If it's 20%, it's 20%. You make the appropriate provisions to protect the poor. But it is therefore very simple. That is the nature of the tax system. Very simple to administer. And so you can tell who has paid, who hasn't paid. Because now, one of the things that we did, we have made the Ghana card your tax identification number. So that everybody who has the Ghana card has a tax identification number. At the time we came into office, only 4% of the adult population in Ghana had a tax identification number. 4%. How can you enforce tax laws if only 4% of your people? But once we made the Ghana card the tax identification number, we have moved from 4% to 85% of adults now have a tax identification number in Ghana, from 4% to 85%. So the database exists, and we are going to be able to tell who has filed, who has not filed. So I want us next year, by the grace of God, next year, to move to a flat tax system for businesses and individuals. And so that we are all able to start from a clean slate, a fresh slate. For all Ghanaians, individuals and businesses, we will start afresh from 2025. I will issue a tax amnesty for businesses and individuals in 2025, and we will start all on the same page. So we will have a tax amnesty, so that if you haven't filed all these years, it doesn't matter. Start filing in 2025, and we will have the flat tax system, and we'll all move on. When I visited the Vatican last month, and after meeting with the Pope, Cardinal Peter Turkson was taking me around the Basilica in the Vatican, and he was showing me different parts of it. We reached a place, and I saw some work going on in the Basilica, and I said to Cardinal Turkson, what is going on here? He said, we are making preparations for next year, 2025. That is the Jubilee year. So what is the Jubilee year? He says, it's the year of forgiveness, and we are all making preparations for that. And I said, then that is a good year, because I'm also going to forgive taxes in Ghana in 2025. So that is one aspect of the tax reform I want. The second aspect of the tax reform is our import duty system. That is the second area I want a reform. As you all know, there's been a lot of complaints about high import duties in our country. And so, looking at it, I have two proposals that I want to implement, two policies that I want to implement. The first policy is to apply the system of the flat rate also to import duty. The flat rate also to import duty. There's too much discretion in the determination of import duty, and that discretion allows corruption. So I'm going to push for the flat rate. If you are a spare parts dealer and you are bringing in a 40-foot container of spare parts, we'll have a flat rate for a 40-foot container of spare parts. If it's 40,000 cedis or 20,000 cedis, it is 20,000 cedis. It is not linked to the exchange rate. So when your goods arrive, no matter what happens to the exchange rate in the meantime, you are paying 20,000 cedis. And if it is a 20-foot container, you are paying 10,000 cedis. It is. If it is rice, you have a flat rate. Then there will be easier compliance, and everybody will understand what it is. So that is the first thing that we have to do. We have to move it into flat rate and make it predictable. Right now, the duty rates are not predictable. And if the duty rates are not predictable, it means the consumer will suffer. Because the trader will say, Once the duty increases, I'm going to increase the price. And when I increase the price, I'm even thinking of what will happen when I'm going back to buy. And then I'll increase the price again. So there's an inflationary component. So I want us to have predictability of import duty, which will allow us, in my view, to collect more import duty. The second policy I'm bringing to realign the import duty is to look at our neighboring country, Togo, to look at Lomé. A lot of goods are being smuggled into Ghana through the Lomé because Lomé ports have lower import duties than the Tema port, isn't it? They have lower import duty than the Tema port. So they will rather take it through Lomé and smuggle it into Ghana. And we don't get any revenue from that. So the new policy that I'm coming up with is simple. Ghana's import duty for any good will not be higher than the Lomé port duty. We will cap our import duty at that level. We will not be higher. We can be lower, but we will not be higher. Once we are not higher, there will be no need for anybody to smuggle through Lomé. They will rather come through Ghana, and that will help us get more revenue in that regard. So those are two policies. We'll make it flat at the import duty level, and we'll realign to Lomé port to make sure that they don't have a competitive advantage over us, and that is very, very important for us to do. Men and women of God, I also want, as a new policy, for us to come in with what I call a golden age of the relationship between the church and the state. I believe that government should get closer to the church and the faith-based organizations. So far, if you look at the work that the churches and the faith-based organizations have done in Ghana, you realize that they are our major and key development partners. Look at the number of schools the church has built. Look at the churches, look at the schools the EP church has built, the Catholic church has built, the Methodist church has built, the Presbyterian church has built. So many. Look at the hospitals they have built. Look at how they care about people on a day-to-day basis. Look at the universities that they have, the churches and the faith-based organizations have built. So we need to formally recognize and come together. And this is why I support the charities bill that is being put together. We need to formally recognize the role of the church and the faith-based organizations in the development of this country, because they are our real development partners. Development partners, when we think about development partners, we usually think about institutions that come abroad, whether it's USAID or Oxfam or whatever. We call them the development partners. But how many schools do they build? How many hospitals do they build? So I believe that the incentives that government provides to our external development partners, when they come in, if they are going to do any project, we give them import duty exemption. But when the church wants to build a school, we don't give it import duty exemption. I'm going to change that. We will give them the same duty exemptions to do their work as we give the external development partners. We are going to give them exactly the same encouragement so that they can build more schools, they can build more hospitals. For our external development partners, when things get hard or when they get angry, they leave. They will leave the country. For us, the faith-based organizations, the churches, they are always here. Even when things get bad, that's when they do more work. Isn't it? So I believe that we need that closer relationship between the church and the state. And we need to give a lot of incentives to the church to help. And we will also need to reopen the discussion about the management of our schools. The churches and the faith-based organizations have a lot of experience, and we could, as government, benefit from their experience, and we need to find out a way to make that happen in terms of schools management. Whilst I'm talking about the relationship between the church and the state, let me make a comment on LGBTQ plus whatever. My statement on this, and I've stated this already, and I'll state it again, we will not allow the practice of LGBTQ in Ghana. The Bible doesn't tolerate it, the Quran doesn't tolerate it, the African values don't tolerate it. So it's no, no, and no. No, no, and no. We will resist it no matter the consequences, because we have to protect our values. We have to protect. They wouldn't allow polygamy in their systems, would they? But they want to impose. We will not allow it. There's no ifs, no buts on the matter. No ifs, no buts. We will not allow it. And that is the simple position, that we should defend our values, our traditions, our culture, and our religion as well. So that is something that is very simple for us to say. I believe also that, education is going to be very key for the future. Education is key for the future. We are entering the 4th industrial revolution, and our children need to be very skilled in the digital age. That is really non-negotiable, because if they are not digitally literate, they will stay behind. They will stay behind. That is where the world is going, and this is why we have done the free SHS. It's very good. And we have seen a 75% increase in enrollment, and we have also seen gender parity. Now there are more girls than boys in senior high school. In 2017, for every 100 boys, there were 68 girls. For every 100 boys, 68 girls. Today, for every 100 boys, there are 106 girls. So we thank God that the girls have now caught up and have overtaken the boys in senior high school. And we have given them laptops, and they are being distributed now in senior high school. But we need to train our young people in digital skills. The good thing about the digital area is that you don't really need a university degree or a polytechnic degree to be trained to have the skills in that area. All you really need is to be able to read and write. We can train everybody, even school dropouts. We can train them to be digitally literate, to be coders. Even Kayaye, we are taking some Kayaye to go and learn coding. Kayaye, they are going to learn coding. And so the plan I have is for us to set a target of 1 million youth across, so that we will do the training. And I'm also going to open a national open university with a focus on ICT and TVET. The National Open University will focus so that we can train our youth. With digital skills, they don't even have to travel abroad. You can stay in Ghana and be working in Australia, in the US, in Germany, in Japan. You don't have to even travel abroad. So we need to get our youth to be part of this new digital age that we are entering. For the disabled, I have made a promise that for persons with disability, we are going to give them free tertiary education, so that persons with disability are not left behind. Because of that, they will have free tertiary education under our government, and we will try to go. I really also believe that we should relook at the Constitution of Ghana. The constitution that we had from 1992 is a good constitution, but it was meant more to bring political stability. If you look at its provisions, it's really geared towards political stability, and we have had a lot of political stability. Now I want us to focus on economic development, and so we should relook at the constitution and change make the changes after consultation. I think former President Mills began that process. We have to continue the process, deepen the consultation, expand it, and bring changes. But one of the major changes I want to see in the review of the constitution is a reduction in the power of the presidency. That we should reduce the power of the presidency. As I said, initially it was meant for political stability, but some of it should now go back to the people, and that will help our democracy. It will deepen our democracy, and that is what I'm going to be advocating for, so that we can have a better thing. So there are a lot of areas that I want us to make, you know, whether it's pensioners, whether it's the disabled, and so on. There are many different areas that I want us to focus on. As I said, I am not here to give you my entire manifesto, but to let you know what I am thinking, the vision, the type of a country that I want to be able to lead us into. I am very, very clear in my mind that Ghana can be an advanced country. I believe that we can do things even the advanced countries haven't yet done, and I believe so, and I think that it is therefore possible. I believe that if you give me the opportunity, I will be more accountable. Why will I be more accountable? Because I'll come back after 4 years and ask you for another opportunity, and then you ask me, but you said you will do this. So that means I'm going to work very hard to make sure I accomplish my vision, because I will have to account for what I have done after 4 years. I believe that if you give me that opportunity, I'm going to, by the grace of God, make a lot of things possible in Ghana, and I'm asking for your support and your prayers and your blessing. Thank you very much. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Mianoni. Miaga Pokpana, the next president of the republic again. Yo, Afi Mia Ijia, Miape National Peace Council Chairman, Volta region. Osofo Seth Mauto, Elijah Manami, and he's also the chairman of the Christian Council, the region. And Reverend Father Benuye Isaac Benuyena Elemia Doma, he is representing the bishop for the whole diocese. Thank you very much, Bishop. Reverend Father.
of the New Patriotic Party. He just addressed the clergy in the St. Francis of Assisi Catholic Church in Ho, where he currently has begun his Volta regional tour. Now, let's take a recap of some of his key messages that he shared as he addressed the clergy. Now, he mentioned digitalization, where he spoke about how he's integrated digitalization into the identification system of the country. We have the Ghana card. He also spoke about the digital address system, which has aided for easy navigation. Now, he mentioned mobile money interoperability, saying Ghana is the first country in Africa to achieve this. He also mentioned the elimination of ghost workers due to the Ghana card. And I mean, he said with national service alone, they've been able to eliminate 44,000 ghost names. And also with SNIT, they've taken out 29,000 ghost worker names. He also said that there are 6 drone centers in the country, where they actually have one in Afajato South. He also mentioned how to digitalize the pharmaceutical system in the country, where he said he met with the pharmaceutical committee in the Volta region. That was in 2019, and he actually said they've set up an e-pharmacy where they've been able to more like consolidate the various pharmacies across the country to make it easy. Assuming you have a prescription from a hospital, instead of going from pharmacy to pharmacy, you actually just download, put it in, and know which pharmacy specifically has the drugs or the medicines that you need. He also made mention of mechanization of the agriculture system in the country. Let's not forget, he mentioned that he actually wants to make the Savannah region the breadbasket of Ghana and then West Africa. So I mean, this is one of his key points, mechanizing the agricultural system of the country. Now, he made mention of the move to renewable energy, keenly solar, because we have a lot of sun here, and then also wind, but he actually seeks to generate 2,000 megawatts of solar power. Now, this is also going to be able to aid with what we have, the hydropower we currently have from Akosombo, and that's actually going to be more than 50% of what Akosombo is generating currently. He also mentioned the move of public transport to electric vehicles to reduce the cost of living, because 2 key things he believes that are affecting people currently in the country happen to be the prices of transport fares, and that is directly linked to the prices of fuel. So once there's an increase in it, it's going straight to affect how much people are going to pay when they have to move from places. So he actually said they are bringing in 200 buses of electric vehicles. This is just to make sure they can carry out a proof of concept. Now, he spoke about the flat tax rate, what he wants to implement, using Estonia. That's his inspiration. The country of Estonia has been a key inspiration for him, and he wants to implement their tax system. So there's going to be a flat tax rate in the country. Now, before he does that, he's going to grant a tax amnesty from 2025, and then everybody starts on a clean slate paying a flat tax rate. Now, he's also going to look at how to apply a flat rate to import duty, because this he wants to do. He says there's a lot of indiscrimination when it comes to import duties in the country, and that has become a breeding sport for corruption. So in order to just root out the corruption in the port system, he wants to actually introduce a flat tax rate for the import sector. He wants to also align our import duty with that of Togo, because most often people tend to smuggle goods through the Lomé port, because the import duties at the Tema port here in Ghana are really high. So if he's able to align it, it's either we're going to be lower or the same line with them, so that we can curb the smuggling that takes place. And one thing that actually got the applause from the clergy when he made mention of it mainly was the fact that he was not going to tolerate LGBTQ. We'll bring you more updates on this as he's touring the Volta region, but now I would like to we'll head over to the Ministry of Information, where we have the Minister for Communication, who is briefing the press on government's rollout of the 5G network.
A geo-platform company is providing open radio access network, Open RAN, to enable disaggregated networks for 4G and 5G mobile and fixed wireless access. Radisys also brings affordable 4G and 5G devices along with digital platforms and applications, fostering sustainable and inclusive development. This collaboration with NGIC is its first venture in Africa, and hopefully will be the first of many. Its partner company, Reliance Jio, set up barely 8 years ago, is currently the largest mobile network operator in the world, with 477 million subscribers. We hope a little bit of their magic will rub off on us in Ghana and through NGIC, the rest of Africa. A lot of interest is being shown in NGIC in the global world of technology, as this model is the first of its kind in Africa. We hope it will be replicated in other parts of the continent, showcasing that it is possible, with Ghana leading the way as the digital black star of Africa. In conclusion, the Kufuor Bawumia government is committed to ensuring equal access to internet connectivity throughout the country. This shared network infrastructure for 5G represents a strategic move to provide affordable, high-speed mobile broadband services, reduce the digital divide, and promote financial inclusion. This initiative is a significant step towards achieving a fully digitized Ghana by 2030. We look forward to the successful deployment of nationwide 4G, 5G services and the transformative impact it will have on the lives of Ghanaians. Ghana, 100% digital. It is possible indeed. Thank you for your attention.
Oh, a bigger round of applause for the Honorable Minister. I am always excited to host the Minister for Communications because anytime she comes here, she bears good news. The last time we were here to talk about the rural telephony, and today she has outlined a lot more they are doing to ensure there is resilience in terms of infrastructure, in terms of the framework that Ghana is pursuing. It was also enlightening to note that although I've been seeing 5G, 4G on my phone, not everyone has that. Hearing from the minister that 4G penetration is only 15% was an eye-opener, because I thought what I've been seeing in Accra is what everyone is benefiting. But apparently it's not the case. And I'm happy that the Honorable Minister is pursuing nationwide coverage so that everyone across the country, she said they are estimating that they can reach at least 80% penetration for 4G network, and also ensure that we have nationwide access. In addition, 5G is here, and I can't wait to have 5G. The Honorable Minister mentioned that it will create several opportunities because it is established that there is correlation between building IT infrastructure and also GDP growth. So if it will open more opportunities for the education sector, health sector, hospitality, payment systems, among others, Honorable Minister, we are happy that the hard work that you and your team are putting in are yielding some rewards for all of us. So thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, on that note, we will take your questions. If you have any question, you can show by hand. There are some microphones at the back. They will bring them to you. When you take it, your name and affiliation, and then proceed to ask your question. So 3 hands here.